Tupac Shakur says a very powerful thing. And one of the things that he said is that he is not a Christian. But I found 45 different pictures of him wearing a cross. Therefore, in the book, we investigate the fact that wearing the cross has to be a fashion statement. It is used to produce something that's called psychomedia perpetrator disorder syndrome complex. Don't ask me what it means, I made it up, but it sounds like you would be suffering from it, Chad. They love nothing, Dr. Peace. Do other people make up stuff when they look at us? Oh, they're shiftless. They don't have the desires, the propensities to do well. There's some type of mental disposition. Well, okay, well, give them the bling bling. And pay a few of them, and let's see what's going. That girl over there. It's getting hot in her. Just that hot. Get out the building, check. It's getting hot, yeah. Go take off all my clothes. The building's on fire! Get out of the building! That's called the Mississippi Basin effect, and I don't have time to break it down, but there's a reason why all of a sudden all the rappers from the top of the Mississippi to the bottom of the Mississippi, they went straight down to Mississippi, and I want you to do your homework assignment, get the map, look at the Mississippi, started in Minnesota, all the way down to what state does it dump out into? Right, okay, and right into the door. Go straight down, and then I want you to start naming the rappers that come from cities that you find close to the Mississippi. And the reason why they didn't take those rappers into the game in the early 90s is because they saw them, Brother Steve, as being unintelligible, ignorant. They can't talk. So they didn't use them. But then when the East Coast and West Coast didn't follow the script after Tupac and Biggie was assassinated, that was your key to kill each other over red and blue and forget you have black skin. When you didn't totally do that, you flipped the script on them, so now they went and got the Mississippi Basin effect. To further retard children in the educational process, I think I just said something. Because now while we teach you to try to speak appropriate English, we don't tell you to throw away the dialects of Ibanos. That's not my position, but I understand in the real world what you have to speak and master. Check. So now they give you artists who rise the Mississippi R. So everything is Einstein, everything is right there. So now you talk subconsciously. Everything you ride the R with. Are you with me, Chad? And then simultaneously, the gains that we had made in the 80s and in the early 90s academically went backwards. It's getting hot in here. We would sit up and never knew it. We just danced to it. Now we're doing all this crazy. It's all good, Chad. But I've noticed they haven't missed anybody name I put up here that's far, right? But I know y'all watching TV to study, right? So something is wrong down that we So we'll take Muslim artists and make them wear crosses. That should be a hint to you. Oh, sorry, we let that go there. Permission to teach? Teach. Because this is not from the X-rated portion of the magazine. This is on the front cover. Now, little kid, I'm sorry. Put hands on the pastor. Put hands on the pastor. Now, y'all know I'm a preacher's kid, right? Y'all can just tell that I'm crazy. Check. You know, we think we get into heaven on credit, Chad. Okay. In the book, we talk about the vixen. V-I-X-E-N, the vixen. And the vixen role is to, for the female, is an upstage of the old mammy role. Okay, where she was always seen as dominant, in control, or whatever. That's why you had the persona of Little Kim. Check? And I apologize because Little Kim is somebody's child. Okay? 50 Cent represents the whole thing of, there's a lecture that I do called The Resurrection of Tupac Shakur. And the resurrection of Tupac Shakur would have to do with, we got young people with the mental disposition that Tupac coming back. Check? Okay. Somebody just said he ain't dead. Okay. Now his mother had an opportunity to lecture with her out west, and she emphatically told the people that God gave me that one son, and I would never, in front of God, claim that my son is alive. When I had to make that decision to pull that plug, I would never. But some people put that out there for you with the Machiavelli thing in order to keep you buying. You're going to buy whether you want to buy, you're going to buy based whether he's alive, dead, or alive. Anyway. But they put it out there and give you that hope. That's the same disposition when people show up when they go to Memphis hoping Elvis is going to come out and greet him at the gate. Check? So you cannot worship two gods. Now they put these people in a deity role. Tupac goes to a deity role. And you need to understand that Christ resurrected. Check? And the Spirit continues to resurrect in us. And not once did he say in any of the writings that we have, quoting him, calling women bees and hoes and such and such. And then you got to ask yourself, why is it that I'm in love with an entity that can degrade my very sister, and then I salute it, even want to, in my deepest desire, sleep with it? I'm just asking y'all a question, Jack. So 50 Cent comes along as the resurrected Tupac. Both survived fatal shootings, Jack. Both have overcome the penal system, Jack. Both have a rival, a person that they used to rap with and are trained with. Now they're their enemy. Him and Ja Rule, Jack. Biggie and Tupac. You don't see this? The resurrection of Tupac Shakur. The first artist to sell, to do what he did with his rap album since Tupac Shakur. And so they feed you and they set you up. This is the making of 50 cents. They set you up. And so that's who you hold on to. But the man gave you a hint. Said he ain't into making love. He just into having sex. So I could never as a black man be committed to a black woman. Now y'all missed it. What that statement is all about. So when he says, I want to be a PIMP, he didn't say I want to be Christ-like. Now you're supposed to be Christian. He's wearing a cross, even if it's make-believe in the video. He still says he wants to be a pimp. As he goes, some of you go. So the brothers attempt to be thugs, so that thugs get killed trying to satisfy you. It's a trick, Chad. Now look at Little Kim. Her cross is too long. But that's for a reason, Chad. Oprah ain't gonna have us on TV talking about that, Chad. This book is not gonna make the book club. Chad. I better not talk about no homies. Chad. I'll leave that alone. What's done in the dark will come. You can pray with people, but don't pray with God. He don't know. He don't even know what his name is. What's your name, P. Diddy Puff Daddy's? Just, I don't know. Dying for rap, check. And we are truly hip-hop at the cross. Hip-hop at the cross. This is a collage, parents, that was put together by our 14, 15-year-old students. And we asked them again to go through magazines, and we gave them a bunch of publications that again, advertise towards African-American community. And we have people, we have Ja Rule, who is a 5%er, which is a sect of the Muslim faith. But he has a cross on. We have Eazy-E. Eazy-E was the vile Satanist. It's documented. Now, how you going to be a Satanist and you wearing a cross? Unless you're defiling NWA, niggas with attitude, was what he was famous for. But he donated his money to the Ronald Reagan Republican Fund. They spies. Well, you better pray about it. Boy, you my homie. You from the same state. I know LeBron, and I hope he just watching what's happening with Kobe. Check. We didn't try to tell you, young brothers. Well, I don't want to step on your toes. I just want to say this. Throughout the history, the demasculation of the black male has always come at the hands of white women. Check. Black women hold you up, they birth you, they educate you, they even get you through school, and soon you sign, it's getting hot in here. Y'all right? Y'all getting off the quiet, yeah? Yeah, at the cross, reference, son of light. Old school chat. I would throw none of this stuff away. Master P, the last Don. Got you see the cross on his head? Standing outside of his cathedral, which is a sacred place. Check. These are Christian symbolisms. See, you got to get with the bling bling. Here you got Snoop. He got the big black dogs which is the symbolic extension of the black male's mentality. That's why black males, gangbangers, they go get big black Rottweilers, pit bulls, something to represent the interaggression. And you feed the dog and take care of the dog better than your own children. Because dog is supposed to be man's best liar, liar, pants on fire. Check. So you get something that when you walk down the street commands attention, not respect. And remember, the Rottweiler is the symbol that guarded the gates of Hades, or the gates of hell. Ain't nobody told us that ain't my history. Look, all I know is both them Negroes still outside. That's all I know. That bling bling and you're still outside. Check. 2 expensive cars. You can only drive one at a time. That's the blink blink mentality. We'll get to it. I want to see if you can see the hidden themes in some of the ads. This is for alcohol. I just want you to take 30 seconds, study the picture, and see if you can give me the hidden theme in the ad. This is in the new book, Hippocracy, that was released in the spring of 2004. Edited by Pastor James Anika. Sister, stand up. I'm just a teacher and I'm used to young people standing.
He's standing up, and when you look in the background, you see, it looks like he's wearing a cross, and the scenery behind it looks like what Jesus went through, and the atmosphere looks like he was on the cross, and now he's holding the microphone.
You stop that! a C. Check. She's absolutely right. The hidden theme there is resurrection. How many people see it now? And our crucifixion. Crucifixion is what I meant to say. The hidden theme there is crucifixion. Again, this is a rapper, what's his name? From back in the day. Very political rapper back in the day, red, black, and green. But now look who he has to go through in order to resurrect his career. Are you with me? Matthew 6:24, you cannot worship. Take a deep breath. We're getting ready to come up on a break in a minute. Permission to teach? Teach. At the cross, where at first? I can't say her name because I always get it wrong, so. Okay, take 30 seconds to check out the ad and give me the hidden theme. Okay, go ahead, sister. You ready? Wait a minute, hold up. The mic is coming back to you.
The way she posing, it's a cross behind her. She got a cross. The way she made the lights and the cross, you can see the cross by the way she's posing.
Very good. Give it up for her. Anyone else?
It's like the same thing as the last one because only she's in the position that Christ was.
Ooh, you go, doctor. Pass it around. Come on. Give her a round of applause. Parents, are you recognizing that the children are engaging in critical thinking? Yes. So instead of criticizing hip-hop sometimes we got to sit down with them and say, okay, now that they said, taste my ice cream, just compose that with why she's wearing a cross. Break that down to me. Now we can decide together whether we'll watch this in our house ever again. Because if we're just taking away from the young people with no education or an educational process, then they're going to watch it down and poop in the mouth. Go ahead, sister.
As well as the cross, but the way like the nuns.
The what?
The so-called nuns. Or
The nuns.
Whatever they're supposed to be. Whatever they're supposed to be. That's why.
The nuns, you're right. Go ahead.
Whatever they're supposed to be, they somewhere. I'm just seeing it as like when Jesus Christ was at the cross, how everybody had despised them and turned their backs on him.
Give it up. Give it up, Chad. Now, candies are what, young people? Shoes. Every shoe has a what? Say it again. Shoes have what? Now, I think you just got it, right? So the crucifixion thing to sell you the shoes is about the souls of the person who's going to purchase the shoes. Jack? Now, how many followers were there of Christ? Multitudes. But what number do we concentrate on biblically? 12. How many nuns are in the picture? 12. Coincidence? This is called psycho-spiritual advertising. Put it in your notes. Psycho-spiritual advertising. Now, we were riding down the street when he picked me up from the airport yesterday, and I turned around and I screamed, I saw a billboard with a scripture. I said, don't we recognize these are scriptures? We're the most Bible-toting people in the world. And we don't recognize scriptures on the billboards that sell alcohol in our communities. Jack? So do you get the hidden part? Not necessarily a veil, but they gave her a long blonde wig, Jack. And she's in a very skimpily dressed, okay? And again, gives no explanation for this. But I'm just here to tell you, it's not about selling shoes, it's about capturing souls. If you got it, just put your hand up in the air. Check. Permission to teach before we go to break. I don't throw none of this stuff away. Check. How many of you young people remember this one? All right. And it says, flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. $50 to the first student who found out in Scripture. $50. $50 to the first young person, 18 or down, who finds it in Scripture. You have 2 minutes. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. If you find that. Now, y'all thought young people would never open the Bible. Look at it. I'm trying to show y'all. You got it where you at? Where you at? Stand up with it. So you scream, the book got his end, and I can tell you. I ain't asked you that. You sound like my daughter. Like when I be sitting to the store, she don't bring back my change. You wanted to change? I ain't know you wanted. You didn't ask. Ooh, get the camera on this. Young people open up the scriptures. Check. Y'all making the devil mad. Somebody better send up a prayer. Somebody better send up some praises right now because the devil's getting mad. Send up some praises right now. The devil's getting mad. Praises go up, blessing comes down. Come on, young people. I'll give you an extra minute. Give you a hint. No hint? See, Pastor, this is what happens when I be teaching Sunday school, right? They sit downstairs, where are the young people? They're trying to make some money. What's going on down there? What is Powell doing? You got it? You ready? 2 minutes up. Okay. Give them another minute. All right. Dr. Harris said give you another minute. You ready? Come on, kids, stand up. Okay, well, hold on, pass this down. Tell me the book you in.
I would put Genesis.
You're Genesis, okay. Brother said he bit at Genesis. Go ahead.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave his wife, and they shall be in one flesh.
Well, you close, man. You get other people. Wait a minute. Pass it back down. Give her a shot. Flip, just get it. Just fine.
Genesis 2:23, and Adam said, "This is now bones of my bones, flesh of my flesh."
Give a round of applause. Check. However, it's wrong. Okay, stand up. What did I teach you about the word country? If you don't try, you don't count. But you did try. Well, look at it. Come on. You have the verse. Okay, let me see if you have it too. This is my buddy right here. I gave her all my training money.
Genesis 2:23. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." Okay, here's the problem. That says flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. It's not, there you go. Say it again. That's not in the Bible, Jack. So, you had to look for nothing, Jack. I didn't have you looking for nothing. So the point is this. Though you're students of the Bible, you still went there looking for it, Jack, investigating the Word. But my point to you is this. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood is right. It was said in 1942 by Adolf Hitler. Teach. That's a whole different lecture, Jack. Okay, but any time a man is covered in blood, he either went through trauma or he just been rebirthed. Or he just been birthed into the world. Check. So it's close, but what I wanted to show you was that is trickery, and it's called psycho-spiritual advertising. Sister, I'm here on a prayer, so I didn't bring no more money. I got $20. Look, brother's gonna find $20 of my money to give you. Here you go, sister, because you tried, all right? Give my $15 change back. Give him a round of applause. Now, that was for you, but where are the Sunday school teachers at? Are people who discuss the Bible with the young people at home? Raise your hand. You know, okay. That is for you. When we criticize in popular culture, these are teachable moments. So just like the Hennessy ad, I bring those into my Sunday school in order to teach from. And that, you know, now the Sunday school is overflowing. Young people, Jack. And so that's our job as shepherds, to bring them into the church, and we get them ready for the word from our ministers, from our pastors. Are you with me, Jack? So I'm just trying to also give you tools to work with, to work with the young people. All right. That's all the money rounds, Jack. Tell me, I like the crowd, he can weigh 30. I shouldn't do this, gonna hurt him, that's gonna hurt him. I can't do that, that's gonna hurt him. Okay, then we gotta take a break, all right? Permission to teach. Have you enjoyed yourself thus far? If you learned something, just put your hand up in the air. All right, look at that camera go around. People will learn something. Y'all go home, call Pooh. Yo, Pooh, put your hands up. Representing our family like that. Now this next one, I'm only gonna show for 15 seconds. You have to then tell me what spiritual chord is struck in you. Are you ready? I can't do this one. This one hurts me, man. This one upsets people, man. But if I do this one, see, Pastor, I have permission to teach. I have permission to teach. All right. 14, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't have no more money. Okay. All right, I'll give $10 out with this one if you can find me a scripture to support what you're about to tell me. $10. Now I'm out of money. So, Pastor, you better get your checkbook ready. And the youth minister and Reverend White, y'all better get y'all money. Y'all gotta help a brother out here now. You gotta put something in the pot up here, right? Y'all put something in the pot up here. Come on now. If this person can find me, if they can find me a supporting scripture to support their theory, we're going to give them $10. You got 20? All right. All right, here we go. It's all good thinking about it. You ready? Come on. 10, 9. There's a scripture to support this one. Yes. Give you a hint? Okay, it's in the Bible. Here we go. What book in the Bible next to that other book? All right, here we go. What book you in? Okay.
Okay, it's Luke 22. Okay, 22:14.
22:14.
When the hour came, Jesus and his apostles reclined at the table. That was the last supper.
You go! Now, if I'm not mistaken, we can find it also in another book, right? Because this is one of the most recurring themes. Okay, go ahead. Okay, all right. Matthew 20, okay.
Matthew 26, 17.
Okay, 20. When evening came, Jesus reclined at the
Okay, you got to go on with it. Okay. Now, we don't have any tissue for you to take the gum out of your mouth. Just sort of put it up your tongue. And that's just the teacher of me from school, okay? So, I want you to slow down so you can educate us. Give us again where you at. Okay.
Matthew 26:20. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. And they were eating. He said, I tell you the truth, one of you will be betrayed.
He said, one of you will what? Betrayed. Oh, let's go back to the ad. $10. Let me change for 20. Let me change for 20. $8 a piece. Someone take care of that, please. Yeah, that brother did get. Someone change between take care of the sister. Here we go. Sister, can you, okay. Can you make sure the sisters get those? Okay. Pass the mic over, let's break it down. Check. Pass the mic. Pass the mic so we can teach and then we can take a quick break. Okay. None of these are, then we're going to come back and we're going to conclude, but we're going to take a break after I give the explanation for this. None of these are handouts, check. So you can, if you look at them, we'll try to keep them in order, but they're not handouts. So we still in the process of scanning these to put these in the book. How many of you got a new book when it come out this spring? Hippocracy. Everything I'm teaching you is going to be in that book, check. All right. Maybe we can come here and do a book signing or something. Yeah. That's possible. All right. Bring your cousin with you, check. All right. Brother PK, put it on the schedule. Here we go. This is for the sale of what, young people? Blunts. Blunts are tools for that you put the blunts in. A blunt for the most part is a cigar. Check. But what's the real deal with blunts out the street, young people? What's the real deal? This weed, right. So it's hard at first for us walking down the street, it just looks like you're smoking a cigar, check. But you might be like, But how do you prepare the blunt? You got to cut it over, like surgery, right? Because you saw your cousin do it. Tell me what the same cousin you got. Break it down, right? You got to cut it over with a knife.
Then you got to take the tobacco out.
You got to take one form of weed out that's called tobacco. Check. That'll put you on your back.
Then you got to lick the paper.
You got to lick the paper.
Then you got to put the weed in.
Put the weed in.
Then you roll it and lick it back so it can stay.
You got to lick it another time. You lick it twice, all right? And so, and then what happens?
You light it up and then smoke it.
You get blue, check. Okay, this is deep. This is deep. So when we take that blood in, it changes our spirit. Wait a minute. Didn't the scripture say one of you will betray me? So you take this in and you lick in, or you swallow that saliva. You need to understand that in the wrapping of a cigar is 43 carcinogens. That means 43 chemicals that causes diseases that are cancerous and are fatal. Check. One of them is arsenic. This is the reason why, how many of y'all know some black folks who smoke a lot of weed and their lips are dark, their tongue is spotty, their lips is spotty, and their lips slightly swell. That is an early sign of arsenic poisoning. Cigars are not meant to be licked and swallowed. So now you play, you done swallowed this arsenic, you go kiss your woman kiss your baby, I'd have killed all three of you in one shot. The cigar is a phallic symbol, which slang name is Peter. Woo! You were denying it too, check. The blunt in the book we talk about, the title of that chapter is The Blunt is More Than a Blunt Dunce. You have to look at the chemical process that changes you, the very thinking, the very being. Someone go to Proverbs 26 and 11 for me. This is not for money. So they not turning as fast now. Young man, you got to sit tall. Always got to sit tall in the presence of knowledge. Whenever there's teaching going place, you always have to sit tall. Proverbs 26 and 11. Okay. All right, young Dr. Stedman. All that I've taught you thus far, I want you to keep this in mind, because some of you may be vulnerable when you leave here.
As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats its folly.
Interpretation, Brother Nike. You want to give interpretation or want me to get that? The interpretation is that those foolish things, when you become educated, you know they're foolish. If you don't change, you'll go back and do those same foolish things. Check. Those same things that are not healthy for you, you will return to. Is that a fair enough analogy? Is that a fair enough analogy? Are you with me, Chad? So what's our point? What I've taught you thus far, you go back and repeat it and do the same things. You are like that dog that returns to his own vomit. That vomit will make you what? Ill. When illness gets in our body, how do we feel? We don't feel good, Jack. So therefore, by us celebrating this foolishness, mentally, we are walking around ill. For them to, do you realize Gangsta Rap video appeared on TV 8 hours more than any other form of music videos? 8 hours more.
Coach Powell is Alfred Coach Powell, and he is the author of a book, a powerful book called Message in the Bottle, and we want to talk to him. In fact, we want him to talk to us because he knows more about it than we do. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Peace.
How are you?
I'm truly blessed and highly favored. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I'm so glad that you have been doing this research along with Kwesi Ron Harris of the Bobby Wright Center on the West Side. And I'm just very glad that you're here to share this information, and I want you to tell us how you started to do this and what it is you plan to do today. And of course, we will be videotaping that too.
Okay. Well, today I'm going to be sort of previewing to the Chicago community bits and pieces from the forthcoming book entitled Hippocracy.
Okay, ignore me. People out there want to hear you. Look at you.
Hippocracy, confidential information. Again, like Message in a Bottle, the 40-ounce scandal, volume 1 and 2 was actually a 10-year report that Brother Kwesi Harris and myself and others on our research team put together. Hippocracy is the same. It is, again, conclusion of a 10-year study of phenomenons that are happening in the communities of color, particularly in the African American community, through the vineyard of hip-hop music, gangster rap, crunk, whatever it's called today. Talking about how they're shaping the minds and opinions and the creating mental dispositions and spiritual dispositions amongst our 3rd, 4th, 5th graders and high schoolers, need say. So those are the things that we're going to do, and we're excited about presenting the information.
I'm very excited about this information too. Something that you said before we came on the show had to do with how the media makes it appear that we're happy being held hostage.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought about that, as a matter of fact, myself. And one of the things that occurred to me was that we have all of these television shows with the so-called kings of comedy, all of whom are living the bling-bling life. And consequently, it appears that, whatever's going on is nothing but fun and games, and it's all a joke, and we're enjoying captivity. And it's a throwback from the era when we were on the plantation as chattel slaves. And, they always showed the darkies, quote, singing and dancing as though oppression and tyranny was something that was just an occasional inconvenience.
Absolutely, and that blueprint was a master plan that worked, was successful, even during the time when the captives or the Africans were outnumbered, the slave masters. We were still kept in boundary and overseen by our own that worked on behalf. You don't throw those successful blueprints away. You just redress them. And so now we have a few who get paid to hypnotize and manipulate the masses. And this is called bling bling mentality, or the bling bling process. When we drop the letter B from the word bling, we get the word ling. And when you look in the dictionary, we get ling. It gives an example, to linger, as in foul odor. Okay, so something stinks. So bling bling is a mental disposition that is consistently working throughout the African American community and others communities that follow. That is detrimental. It is as if you get rewarded now and you celebrate now without recognizing that you're in slavery.
And this is the condition that we are in. We are funding our own oppression. We are the so-called assets and riches that we acquire in the society are, as Kwesi has pointed out, on lease. They're on loan. They can be repossessed and recovered at any moment. We own absolutely nothing. Nothing that we have is guaranteed to be in our possession 1 minute from now. We are all one shaky step away from homelessness and absolute abject poverty.
And in a sense that's wonderful. I mean, you hit it right on the head. We are homeless in the sense that we're still in search of. If we're not spiritually homeless, then we're financially homeless, that we are morally homeless. We have the image of black males now going back to long-lipped hair, the pimp fasana, which is a symbolism of feminizing the African American male. Same trick that was used when we rised up in the 60s and stood up straight. The same thing was introduced with the Mac and Superfly, those fasanas. They're being reintroduced now through Snoop Dogg and everybody else who seems to run with him. And these people are used once again to mentally seduce the rest of us into believing that it's all good. If you notice in videos now, I watch them because I have to study them, that the ghetto itself is all but disappeared. Now, I want the audiences, next time you're watching those videos, to ask yourself, why are so many of the rappers and are the people who are participating, whether they semi-nude, gyrating, simulating sexual acts, wearing big Christian crosses? Why are they also pushing the theme of wealth, and get rich or die trying? Now, you can die trying by several ways: natural causes, or killing someone, or being killed trying to take from someone else. So it just sets us up for the whole cycle. This stuff just regurgitated. It's nothing new. But why is it so important for someone to sign off on the production of a video that is detrimental to the mental disposition of an entire community? This impacts school testing results in schools. We're dealing with young people around the country, 4th and 5th graders, mind you, Dr. Peace, that are coming to school who would rather take the aluminum foil from the chewing gum and stick it in their mouth and pretend that they're bling blinging. That's evidence of psychomedia perpetrative disorder syndrome. Fancy term simply means monkey see, monkey do. So it's a setup. So we're just here to review, to let Chicago know that, again, that as social scientists, we have been out there studying this phenomena and putting it in layman terms so we can all get it and understand what we have to do to truly save Pookie, Peaches, and Pudding in them.
Tell me something about this Willie Lynch traveling all-stars or whatever what you mentioned.
Well, Brother Crazy and ourselves, we receive a lot of emails and facts from people from around the world on upcoming concerts and things like that, and we were just besieged several months ago with the plans that several major beer companies had to sponsor what they called a major a rap movement concert series through the summer. And this was rappers from the East Coast with rappers from the West Coast and for what we call the Mississippi Basin, which means they went up the Mississippi and got all these new rappers and put them all together. So no one has any beef anymore. Have you noticed that the East and West Coast war has disappeared overnight. You know, I don't remember a treaty being signed. But anyway, my point is that all these people are on stage. One particular rapper comes out and he pretends that he's shooting his rival during the show. Then another one comes out who's sworn that they no longer will smoke marijuana and fires up what appears to be marijuana on stage. So we just simply call them the Willie Lynch traveling all-stars, you know, and suffering from a syndrome and a complex. Much as you would say Stockholm Syndrome, when the captive begins to love the oppressor more than he loves himself. It was Harriet Tubman that said, I could have freed many more slaves, but they never recognized that they were slaves.
It's kind of like that master we sick syndrome. You know, if the master is sick, the slave is sicker than
Our
the
house
master.
is on fire. Yes, yes.
Reverend Wyatt, who is a local Chicago minister, has done a piece that I saw in Tony Brown's journal on sacred music, and he talked about black music, and he talked about understanding our people through looking at the music. Well, prior to his presentation, there was a book by Leroy Jones called Blues People, and he said, if you want to study our people, you can study what is happening to our people through their music. And so he said, obviously none of us jumped off those slave ships singing the St. James Infirmary blues, but at some point when we began to lose our references to Africa, we stopped singing African songs based in African rhythms, and we began to look up and say, oh Lord, what is this mess? And that is where we began to sing the blues, because we recognized that we were in a situation where we were not going to be returning home, and that we were, you know, motherless children in a land that was foreign to us, among people who were also foreign to us. So that the fact that you are looking at the music is, you know, that tradition has already been proven to be the right place to look. And you can see the degeneration of our people when you look at the music. And there are many adults who just dismiss rap music out of hand because they just don't want to hear it. They don't want anything that has that beat, anything that appears to go in that direction. But adults, parents, please, you must not allow your children to be exposed to anything that you don't understand. You must listen to this music. You must watch these videos. You need to get them before they get them.
Absolutely.
You need to listen to the local radio stations that play the music. You need to listen to it over and over again, if at all possible, because you have to get in tune with what your children are immersed in, because they are spending a lot of time in this pop culture, and they are spending less time in anything else, and therefore that influence is stronger than almost every other influence. Even those of you who attend churches, your children go for a shorter period than they do to any place else. They're in school 5 hours a day, and the rest of the time they're on the video games, they're on the internet, they're watching TV, and they are taking in all of this poison. And you must filter that poison. You must be there to talk to them and to encourage them and to inspire them to seek another standard.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you talk about the church's role and impact, we need to be very careful, because when you talk about the music being the link to our history and what we are and what we're about, it's always been used as an avenue to identify ourselves through our pride and also to speak to our oppression. I mean, even when rap became hip hop, as it merged in rap, rap has been going on a long time, long before African Bambaataa or anyone else who came out in the early 80s in New York with it. My point is that it lost its political edge, its punch, and it became commercial. And once it became commercial, then the voice is gone. If you look at the early rap songs, as we give an example in the book, young people were dressed in red, black, and green, making political statements, using Islamic and African names. That has been wiped out. Even Queen Latifah, you know, have changed political views and things like that. So they act as if they have graduated from the oppression, and they were calling it keeping it real. But all of them have worked towards mainstream entertainment. They're all in #1 movies now. They all have reality TV shows. How could it be that you could make a song like Cop Killer be criticized by the political world and then turn around and be in one of the #1 hit TV shows in America? That's because you have an agreement with the person who allowed you to put that information out in the first place. So I just want people to recognize that this stuff that you see on TV is orchestrated, it's constructed, and we try to give you a step-by-step blow in the book on how this is done. Last point. We need to be very, very careful in the mosque, in the church, in other places, in the sense of watching how this emerges into our spiritual beliefs and faith. In the Christian church, we need to be very careful, because what hip-hop has managed to do is spin off a form of music that we identify as holy hop. Now, when you watch a holy hop video versus a hip-hop video and you turn down the sounds, you cannot distinguish the two. They're almost identical. Wealth scenes are still plentiful. The crosses are still plentiful. The posturing of looking towards the sky and pointing heavenward is very repetitious in these videos. All these things we take in consideration, because everything that happens in a video is orchestrated. That's why you have a director, a producer, and then this information is then translated to the greater community as the norm. So we need to be very careful. This is a war. You can pretend it's just in a battle, but these are weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, yes.
How is it that I can go to Chicago and the kids in LA are doing the same thing as the brothers in Chicago? I can go from Chicago to New York, they're doing identical. I can go to Florida, it's identical. I can go to Atlanta, it's identical. That's because it's a blueprint, a master plan. And we need to be very, very careful. This is the worst conditions we've ever been in. As a social scientist, is my own opinion, as I study the atrocities of our people throughout this 500-year relationship and coming back into the new worlds. So we need to be very careful. We're just too comfortable right now. And Head Start is being cut and butchered. So we know what achievements we have received out of that. We need to be very careful what the real strategy behind Leave No Child Behind. We need to be very careful and ask critical questions about vouchers. That's a few special folks getting to go over and being trained to forget those that are left behind. We just need to be very careful and step up to the plate. Stop being reactionary, become proactive, and it's okay to speak your mind as a liberated, free person in America. That's what America is about, supposedly, unless you're black, unless you're a person of color, unless you're raising questions about historical trauma, which hasn't gone away. The world still stands on that foundation.
You know, you are just so powerful. You are noticing everything. You are paying attention. And that is what we must do as adults who are the guardians and custodians of the youth. We must pay attention.
Must pay attention.
We must inform ourselves. It is not just for the social scientists to go out and sit in the libraries and go on the internet and do the research. It is our responsibility as adults who are responsible for young people to know as much as we possibly can and to do as much as we possibly can. And we need to understand that we have an absolute responsibility toward our children for their development in terms of education. We cannot send our children to other people to be educated have no influence and no control and no input in that process and expect to get the kind of youth and adults that we want to live with in our community. It is impossible, it is unreasonable, it is irrational, and it's ridiculous.
You're the only group that's asked to do that. You're the only group that's asked to do that. And I look at our leadership and I look at statements by Clarence Thomas, I look at statements by Colin Powell, and when they've asked issues around the historical trauma of black folks, they totally dismiss it and give a creed of get over it. And I'm like, that is a mental disposition. The mental health system of black folks is digestive system is backed up, and I won't say with what, but it's backed up. We're in serious trouble, and you're right. We have to listen to the young people, and I'm not anti-rap, anti-hip-hop. I'm just pro-truth, and we have to be truthful, and there has to be someone held accountable.
We're here with the pastor of Odell Covenant Church, Reverend Darrell Griffin. And I wanted him to say something about this particular program that he has organized at his church for the youth and the parents.
Thank you, Dr. Peace, and I'm certainly happy to be here today. We wanted to bring in Coach Alfred Powell to share with our young people to help curb some of the messages that they receive from the advertising industry. And so we wanted to begin to help them understand and make sense of some of this so that they can make informed decisions about their future and their destiny. Our young people, we teach them the Word of God, and we wanted to have the information that Coach Powell shares with us and shares with our young people so that they can take this information and don't just think that it comes from us. Many times we try to say, don't watch the videos are destructive to you, but we really don't share with them how destructive they are. We don't break down the information for our young people. And one of the things that Coach Powell has done today is he's taken each of these advertising components and he's broken them down. He would break them down so that our young people can fully understand it. And it's been excellent thus far.
It certainly has been excellent, and I think that what we want to tell the young people is to watch the videos with a pen and a paper.
Yes.
And notice and be discerning. Don't just sit there and absorb the video. Know what it is that you're seeing in the video, and then use that as a springboard to help raise the level of consciousness for your family members and your friends. So we thank you so much, Pastor Griffin, for having the foresight and the vision to have this kind of program for young people, and we hope to see it repeated in many other churches and institutions, because we can see the enthusiasm of the youth. They were completely absorbed with this program, and I'm certain that they are going to benefit and be a blessing to their communities.
Thank you.
Thank you.